Hello Internet, and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the home for RPG aficionados of all consoles and platforms. Today I'm going to be breaking down the early access version of HellSign, an investigative action RPG being developed for Steam by Ballistic Interactive. To sum up my experience so far into one word, I would say promising. The structure of HellSign, from its polished aesthetic to its engaging gameplay, has a strong foundation. That's not to say that it doesn't have its faults. This is, after all, an early access, so it's going to have a few rough spots. But let's get into the weeds and find out why I'm excited for the development of HellSign. Let's start off with the design. I'm a big fan of the aesthetic choices here. Cutscenes utilizing a comic book layout are gorgeous and do a great job of setting up the scene. I'm also a fan of this isometric view. It reminded me a lot of Wasteland 2, a turn-based RPG I really love. I was expecting a point-and-click control scheme, but moving around with the keyboard and mouse, it felt good. The darkness surrounding you and only being able to see what's in the view of your flashlight gives off a claustrophobic feeling, and which really adds to the tension. If we take a look at the gameplay, going in I was really excited to investigate some haunted locations, tracking down demons, and so far I've been encouraged by what I've seen. Using multiple tools to find signs of paranormal activity was entertaining, until I got to the blacklight. It was easy enough to follow the illuminated trail, but the clues to find just didn't seem to line up well. Since the signs themselves aren't illuminated, it got to the point where I was just clicking on anything remotely close to the trail, and eventually I would find the clues. Once you track down all of the signs, it's time to figure out what kind of demon you're dealing with. The encyclopedia uses these clues to solve the different puzzles, and it's well designed, but it did take me a few times to figure out how to properly use it. I think my biggest issue was that I was too focused on the words, and I didn't even really notice the pictures. But eventually I did figure it out, and I do think it'll be easier to use going forward. I would say the most disappointing aspect of this early access was the combat. It just felt off to me. Trying to aim at the fast-moving critters while they zip by just felt awkward. Obviously there's going to be a factor of needing to get better, but I think this is where the developer will want to take a long look and find a way to smooth out the experience. Maybe if there was a way to auto-aim, or maybe a slow-down time mechanism. Because really, I came for the investigations, and I really got frustrated quickly by the combat. Some other notes I come up with is that the dialogue is quite vulgar. I get that this is an adult game, but in many of the conversations, I just felt like the vulgarity was used in place of interesting writing. Take for example an offshoot conversation between two NPCs. The conversation was a vulgar description of a male conquest, and not only were the details over the top, they just weren't that interesting to me. Listening to the whole back and forth offered no real information, and it really had no entertainment value. I was waiting for some strange event to be described by the end, or maybe a comedic punchline, but none came. Discussions later on between the character and the different contexts often included words that are rarely said outside of a locker room. Without a purpose, they just seemed like they were being used needlessly for shock value. I'm hoping that the dialogue gets replaced with some more interesting writing. Ultimately though, I was impressed with the first few hours, and I'm looking forward to the development of HellSign. I think they have a real strong foundation here for a really good game, and I'm hopeful and optimistic that the gentlemen working on the development will be able to polish up this early version. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the review, please like and subscribe below. You can also check out our website, www.thethirstymage.com, or you can follow us on Twitter under the handle TheThirstyMage.